Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Napoleon, and today we are back with another Enlisted video. And today we're going to be talking about the recent anniversary sale and what you should definitely get if you, of course, want to pay for something. So without further ado, let's just get started. And the first one we have to talk about is the temporarily available premium squads for gold. And let's just go down the list. For starters, we have the MG13 with a drum magazine. This is about 75 rounds for Germany at BR3. This is almost on a scale from 1 to 10. It's going to be a 10 because once off, this is an MG13 with 75 rounds. Not even the MG34 at this same tier has the capability to do that. So yes, get the MG13 with drum magazine because it's really good. Next up we have the Irma EMP36, and this is essentially acting pretty much like an MP40 with somewhat better stats, and honestly it's in all reality the same as the MP40, is just slightly better, and honestly I don't think it's worth the amount of gold that it is. Next up we have the Panther A, and this is at BR4. The issue with BR4 once again for everyone is the fact that BR4 has the unfortunate ability to be tiered higher, and they usually face BR5s. Now, the Panther in this situation is not that bad, considering that the Panther has a very good 75 HE round. As a matter of fact, it's one of the best in the game for 75mm. The only issue is the fact that this Panther is pretty much already in-game, and honestly, it's not that good. It's essentially just a skin, so you don't really want to spend the gold on this one. That said, let's move on to the Boomerang Mark II. This is for the United States at BR2, and honestly, it's one of those planes which is actually pretty decent. For starters, it has two 250-pound GB Mark IV bombs, it has two 20mm Hispano cannons, and four 7.7 machine guns. The good thing about this plane is that it's at lower tier, meaning that the armaments and the machine guns actually do a lot of damage at BR2. And honestly, I would suggest that you actually get it if you want to, although the next one on our list is much better, and that is the Colt Monitor for the United States at BR3. This is essentially like a better BAR, and arguably one of the best BARs that you can get for the entire game. As a matter of fact, I will rank it on par with the MG13 75 rounds because it is just that good. I have it for my BR3 collection and I don't regret getting it. That said, we have the British A13 Mark II for 1939 camo, and this is for the United States at BR1. Honestly, this is just a regular A13, and that said, let's move on to the Soviet Union. For the Soviet Union, we have the SKS-31. Honestly, this is actually a pretty good squad that you can get for the Soviet Union, but the issue for the Soviet Union at BR2 is that there are so many better weapons that you can get at BR2, then I highly suggest that you don't get this engineer squad. That said, let's talk about the M4A276W. This is essentially a Soviet Sherman, and the good thing about the Sherman is that it's a Sherman with a 76mm gun. And as a matter of fact, if memory serves correct, it was the first 76mm gun that first came to Enlisted. Not for the Americans, but for the Soviets, so go figure. And honestly, it's actually a pretty good tank. The only issue, once again, with the Panther is the fact that this thing is at BR4. Now, unlike the Panther, which arguably has much better stats, the 76W is arguably much worse than the Panther, just in the fact that you have to face against German heavy tanks. And because of that, this is essentially almost pretty much useless, because number one, it can't pen, and number two, it's a sitting duck. That said, let's move on to the Japanese. For starters, they have the 6th Armored Division, the Kachi, and in my personal opinion, this is a Japanese amphibious tank with a 47mm gun and without a machine gun. I highly suggest that you don't get it because at BR2 you have much better options. And that said, you also have the Type 99 sniper rifle for Japan. This is actually a pretty good get, but once again, there's not much difference from the original Japanese sniper rifle that you get at BR1, so I highly suggest that you don't get it. And finally, let's move on to the temporarily available collector squads. For one, we have the Owens Mark I, and this is coming for the United States at BR2. This Australian squad is actually pretty unique, and if you want something unique for BR2 for the United States, I highly suggest that you get it. Of course, we also do have the U2, and this is essentially the Soviet Night Witches. These are a very interesting squad to get, not in the sense that they're actually good, but in the sense that it is actually able to do some damage. A lot of people would instantly argue to you that this has a very bad turn rate and whatnot and flight dynamics, and honestly it really is, with the exception that you do have two 100kg bombs and two 50kg bombs, which in all reality is not that much, but last time I checked, this is the highest amount of bombs for a Soviet plane at BR1. That said, let's move on to the stuff that we already have in tech tree, or should I say the stuff that you could potentially buy that is not for temporarily sale. So let's start with the Soviet Union, and that is probably the belt-fed DP. This is a pretty good weapon in all reality. ability, and it's not that bad. As a matter of fact, I'll rate it as one of the better machine guns that you can go to. That said, the AS-44 for the Soviet Union is also very good. This is the paratrooper version, so this is kind of different, and the reason why this is so good is because the fact that this thing is essentially for paratroopers, and this comes with the AS-44, which is really good. And if you don't want to use the AS-44, you can switch out to other weapons. As a matter of fact, you can literally switch out to a BR-1 weapon, hop into a BR-1 game, and voila, you have a BR-1 paratrooper squad. If you want to get anything for the Soviet Union, that is the 100% recommended thing or squad I suggest that you get. That said, let's move on to the Germans, because once again, the United States, in my personal opinion, doesn't have a lot of premium squads that are really worth it or a game changer. But for the Germans, there is actually something you should pretty much get, and that is the TZ-45. This is not that bad of a weapon, and it's actually pretty interesting to use. It's not overpowered, which machine guns and submachine guns at this time should not be overpowered. The Beretta M38 is a paratrooper squad and has essentially a Beretta M38 with a bayonet, and is actually pretty good for BR1, so I also highly suggest that you get that. That said, let's move on to Japan, and the only thing that you should get for Japan is the Ho-Ha, which is actually pretty dang decent. And of course, the Type 100 with a bipod. Unfortunately for you guys, it is not for a discount, so it is actually harder or more expensive to get, but the Ho-Ha APC is a good choice for Japan as of right now. That said, without further ado, this is all it for this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the Discord. Comment in the comment section down below of what other vehicles you want to get, and I'll probably answer as soon as humanly possible.